Hopefully that records it properly there.
You
Okay.
get a little Michael Jackson.
Woo! Woo! Right? Alright. Hello and welcome to the Sci-Fi Update. I'm your host, Tony Harper, and I have with me my friend Dave Clark.
Hi, everybody.
He's back again. Alright, so to begin with, we're going to start off with some news. My phone has finally decided to tell me about all the news that's out there, so I actually ended up with almost 2 pages worth of news.
Wow, all right.
So I have a lot of news to go through first. One of the things I want to mention is Chris Lloyd is now going to star in The Mandalorian Season 3.
Christopher Lloyd?
Christopher Lloyd, yeah, from
Doc Brown?
Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume he's not going to be playing a Jedi who will be bouncing around with a lightsaber.
Who knows yet? I don't know what his role is. They were kind of a little light and detailed. They were just mentioning that he was going to be in it. Halo 2 is confirmed.
Excellent.
Season 2 is confirmed. They haven't even started Season 1 yet.
Hasn't released yet.
Yeah, but when you think about things like Cowboy Bebop, they canceled Season 2 after Season 1 hit the airline.
Waves.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I meant. Alright. Halo Infinite may end up getting a Warzone mode for Season 2.
Yeah.
Alright.
I've been burned by Fortnite. There's just so many multicolored dancing teabags a man can handle.
Avatar 2 will be out in theaters on December 16th, 2022.
I will hold my breath.
Really?
No.
You're not excited about it? I like Avatar.
I am super sad. I loved the movie.
So this thing was shot underwater, but some of the CGI for being underwater, they were having difficulty doing the proper capture when they were trying to shoot this on land. So they had to do some modifications, things. That's what took so long to get Avatar 2 actually done.
No, they need to toss him in a water tank, just like they did for Titanic, and almost kill all the entire crew.
They did that
I want
for
realism.
Titanic. They also did that for, what's that sci-fi one with the water thing, spout thing that comes out?
Oh, The Abyss.
The Abyss. They
Which
did
was
that for The Abyss.
fantastic.
That was a great one.
Also, that runs into Sphere.
Yes, right. That's going to be a little bit later on in our topic today.
All
right.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. Please find a man.
Whoa, now.
Find a man
Tony, I didn't know you liked me like that.
who was a Mad Max fan who updated his car for like a blower sticking out of the hood and some other features because they didn't consider it to be safe for the road. Just thought it was an interesting little tidbit that if you're going to modify your own vehicles and all that kind of stuff, make sure that you get the okay from the police department to have it on the road before you drive around on the road.
Oh, hell no. Ask forgiveness. Don't ever ask permission.
There should be a new sci-fi series coming out on HBO Max, The Time Traveler's Wife.
Oh, excellent book.
So, I didn't watch the book. The movie wasn't all that great. This is supposed to be better than the movie.
Well, that shouldn't be a hard level to surpass.
So that's why I didn't even get into the book on that one. I watched the movie first, which is never a good idea. Most of the time, it's never a good idea. Most of the time.
The Shining.
All right.
Love the book. The ending in the book is better than the ending in the movie, but the visualization in the movie is so good.
Go Kubrick.
Bad Batch Season 2 is in the works. There's supposed to be a bit of time gap between the first and second season, so it won't be right at the end of the first season from the Bad Batch.
I can deal with that.
Right.
I mean, it's not like they asked me. I didn't get a choice here.
And they didn't actually come out with a release date, but if we think back to Season 1, it was released on May 4th, 2021. I'm projecting they're going to drop it around the same time.
All right, so we're going to start a pool on that. We'll have a countdown timer for Tony being right on a movie, well, a TV show dropping on
TV show,
time.
animated TV show.
And it's not British, so good luck.
Wow.
And,
all right.
Oh, my wife is a BBC fanatic, and she will set her watch by when a show's dropping. They're usually pretty dead on.
Nice. There's going to be a new French sci-fi series on Disney Plus called Parallels.
Okay, I've never watched a French sci-fi, I don't think.
All 6 episodes are supposed to drop on March 23rd, so it's this week. The synopsis of the show was they were all basically at a birthday party and something unexplainable happens, and they basically all get into parallel universes.
So no tentacles.
Not yet. It is a
And
French
make kids will
film,
get that joke.
and it is a French film, so you
So
don't
it's
know.
cigarette tentacles.
Let's see. Oh, some sad news. Sorry, I mutilate names, so I'm trying not to mutilate this name. Takarada Akira passed away at 87. He was one of the first main actors for Godzilla.
Really?
Yes.
Man, he had to have been old.
87.
Phew.
So. Fear the Walking Dead, Season 7, Part 2 is supposed to come out 2 days ago.
Is this the last
3
season?
days ago on AMC. I believe it's the last season, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if they were dropping another season after this. This is Fear the Walking Dead. It's not The Walking Dead. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's
They didn't really go into didn't really go into that in the article. And my wife absolutely loves The Walking Dead, but I can only watch so many zombies mutilate people and so much drama before I'm like, I'm done with the drama.
I've only seen the first 2 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead. I'm a horrible person.
I've seen only half of the first season. I'm like, all right, same SSDD and move on. Because that's the same thing with The Walking Dead. I watched the first season and a half, and I'm like, all right, it's now back to SSDD.
Yep.
It's interesting, but I'm not that much of a drama person. Like that's where it really gets into drama and people. And
I hate to sound elitist, but I did like the comic book better.
All right.
But mostly because I love that black and white art style.
Let's see what else I got on here. Oh, Starfield, a game that's going to be Xbox only. It's going to be like a role-player game by Bethesda. Open world that players can choose what they want to do. It's an RPG simulation thing. So basically, they were talking about it being like 3 different type of things, like a space cowboy, a corporate dude, or some kind of mix between those two. Where was it?
I could think with the Space Cowboys, there's less poop on your boots.
Yeah, so... Thanks, Dave. Dave. I was thinking about asking you, and we'll do this live on the show. No, if you want to keep doing this with me, I'm really looking for somebody that would be willing to keep coming back.
We'll have to discuss later. You know how I am with work and.
Yeah, I know, and that's going to be interesting. So we'll see, but at least Dave will be a reoccurring guest on my show, either way. Expired, a new sci-fi movie with not so great reviews, dropped Friday. And
I didn't even hear
in
about
select
it.
theaters
Ooh.
and on demand.
Select theaters.
Yeah, basically, some of the reviews on it said it was an uninspired Ex Machina.
No, well,
Well,
Ex Machina's all right.
So, Norman Reedus, speaking of Walking Dead, he
significantly older than I ever thought. The guy's in his 50s. He looks like he's 35, and I feel like dirt every time I watch him. Like, oh, look at it. Oh, I'm 46. That dude's a decade older than me and looks better.
He plays Daryl on The Walking Dead. He suffered a concussion, if that makes you feel any better, while on set, and then has bumped the schedule release date back because he suffered a concussion.
Wimp.
So
this is a hatchet mark right here in my forehead. Just saying. And I don't even fight zombies.
Last thing I got is Brandon Sanderson. I should have talked about him for the last 2 weeks. If you guys don't know, he started a Kickstarter campaign to raise money for a new sci-fi book series. All right, he started up first day. He had over $6 million. By the end of the week, he had $19 million. It's the last report I got was Thursday, and that was only like 2 weeks later. He's up to $30 million.
Is he self-publishing? Because
I'm
pretty sure I could type a book on my phone for free.
He's self-publishing his own stuff and selling it to people on Kickstarter.
Wow, that is a lot of money.
So this may change the entire way authors release books.
It's the first time I've ever seen a pelican shiver in fear.
But he does have some advantages.
Penguin, sorry, I screwed up the joke for Penguin Publishing. Pelican.
Badly, because I didn't get it to begin with. That's why.
We
I
just
was
cut that
looking
one
at him
out.
strange. No, we're leaving that stuff in. Like I said, I'm lazy. I'm probably gonna pop a picture of a pelican up on this thing.
Oh yeah.
Get everything
Ooh, like a
works.
pelican and a penguin jousting would be awesome.
Thanks for giving me more work to do post editing. I appreciate that.
I'm just here to be pretty.
We'll see if I put that in there.
Like right now, he's
great.
going to draw a princess costume on me on SketchUp. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I wish I had those stuff. I'm a cheap bastard. I don't have a lot of those things, so I have to make it afterwards. But we'll see what I can do.
All right.
So you're now giving me 2 challenges. Stop challenging me.
Oh no, now you just made it worse.
You challenged me to challenge you, but now we have to talk about Sphere.
Sphere. Well, all right.
You tortured me.
This week, I decided to do something that's kind of along with Women's Histories Month, and I wanted to talk about strong female leads.
Sharon Stone.
I wanted to talk about female directors, and there are a lot more than I thought when I started researching, especially for sci-fi. Like I knew there was a lot of good female directors out there. I just don't remember some of the sci-fi stuff, like The Matrix. I didn't realize that was directed by a female.
Wasn't that the Wachowski brothers that then transitioned?
And they say,
I believe they both did,
IBM, yeah, that it was directed
Wachowski.
by
I'm sorry.
IMDb. I'm sorry, I'm bad.
People are
at
going to
that.
hunt me down for getting that name wrong. I know it.
Good
but,
possibility.
So I was looking up. Well, you're looking that up. I looked up earlier this week. Female directors, female producers, and that for movies, because like you, I was like, well, I just watched the movie and enjoyed it. I don't go through all the lists of all the people that actually produced it and all that, and that's a failing on my part, I know. And realized that from like 1960 until the early 2000s, there are so many women authors that actually adopted straight up men's names to get their stuff published.
Absolutely.
I mean, they've always done the initials like WC, whatever, but there's Tipton Jr., female. I had no
Right.
idea.
Yeah, and that was the same thing for me. Like I just didn't realize how often that it happened. It's a shame that society has made them do that in order to get their stuff published. It's been happening throughout history.
See, that's
for
why
a long time.
That's why the world needs more dumb people like me who don't pay attention to that. I'm sorry, you could have the most female name in the world, and I'm still reading your stuff. I don't care
If
one
I
way or
like
the
it,
other.
yeah, it doesn't
as long as I
matter
like
to me
it.
at all. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Like I'm what am I reading right now? Hold on a sec. Office of Mercy. Came out like 2013ish.
Right.
She's got a very difficult to pronounce name. Ariel DeJanikin is the writer, and it's so far. I mean, I'm only about halfway through the book at this point. Fantastic. It's a utopian / dystopian novel. So who we're assuming is going to end up being the bad guys, live in a dome, and then you've got tribes that live outside the dome after a what do they call it? The storm, I believe they call it.
Right.
Is the big world-ending problem. And the Office of Mercy is actually a office that goes out into the wilderness and eradicates these primitive tribes because they don't want them to take their resources basically. It's crazy, and you're like, wow. So all these people, there's no everyone's bred in pods and things like that. And they try to get rid of all the human emotion of hunger and all that. Like, hey, don't steal my bread. Everyone has bread. You don't need to steal my bread. But it's the beginning of it's just a little rough. The first chapter or two is it's always that you got to lead you into who the characters are. You got to spoon feed me like a baby chick. But after you get past that, the writing's fast paced. It's really well done, and you get an interesting insight into what we could be, but we never end up.
Nice.
That's my female author for today. Just that was an accidental one. That wasn't even a.
Well, I mean, you were going to do that, so I was looking, because I'm going off of Goodreads, top 100 female authors, and names like P.D. James, who wrote The Children of Men. I don't even know what P stands for, but she's a female author that had to truncate her first name to get published.
There's a lot of them that did that.
G.S. Jensen is another one I see on my list here. Just trying to go through, and there was several more that I know that I saw. that was just the same thing. Oh, CJ Chira? I can't say that name.
Oh yeah, you can hand it to me. I didn't even got my glasses on. Where are we at? Oh, Octavia Butler.
Yeah, she's
Xenogenesis. That's a great series.
Yeah.
Now I'm just looking at his phone.
Thanks. I was trying to say it's CHERRYH.
Oh, it's
Chira.
Shira.
Shira.
So what she did is her name's actually Cheryl, and she took the L off and added an H.
Oh, nice. There we go.
And not 100% sure on the pronunciation there, folks. Public school.
Yeah, I'm the same way. All right, so
you owe me for Sphere.
All right, what do you not like Sphere? I liked Sphere.
Liked the book. The book was really good.
The book was really good. The movie was not so much. But
Dustin Hoffman, Samuel L. Jackson, Sharon Stone, and can't think of his name. Anyway, yeah, that was some of the worst acting I've seen in a movie in a long time. I watched it. I was like, oh, I should watch the movie. I know there's a movie.
Brought it up and he's like, I'm going to watch the movie.
Is it 93, I think it is? 93,
out,
98?
Yeah, around that time.
Right around that time. Yeah, it was terrible. It would have been all right if it had just been schlock. You know, it was done on a $2 million budget. But no, it was a high-budget movie.
Yeah, I don't even think they made their money back on that.
I don't think Dustin Hoffman even showed up for the movie. He was like, I'm going to call this in, and you guys can just, put, a rubber mask on somebody. It was terrible. Sharon Stone did all right. And she
did all right.
I really wanted it to be better. I did.
And I did, too.
She didn't do bad. She was the better of the actors. But contrasting it from the book, I read the book the first time years ago, and I paged through it again just to oh, that's right, that's a memory helper. And what's interesting is I never liked the end of the book.
The end of the book is sort of what they tried to do in the movie too. It was
that's what surprised me.
It could have been all a dream type of thing.
Could have been so much better. All right, spoiler for the people that don't know how it ends. Spoiler. Plus like a spoiler sign. I was like, spoiler. Little dancing anime dolls or something. So the short version of what happens in the book is a psychologist is called up to go to what he thinks is a plane crash. And it turns out that it's a spaceship underwater, 1,000 feet underwater. So him and a report that he'd written a couple of years earlier said, hey, for a alien first contact, you should have a biologist, chemist, that kind of stuff, and a psychologist, because he's a psychologist and it's his field. You got to feel good. You don't. Well, anyway, they go down to this ship. They discover that it's actually a spaceship, and it's got this big, giant marble on it.
Marble, I guess, is a good way to explain it.
And that tracks through the book and through the movie. The Samuel L. Jackson's character, who is a mathematician, figures out how to enter the sphere, and fun and shenanigans ensue. Basically, it gives them the ability to do whatever they can dream, whatever they can imagine. That they don't know that. Whatever. The end of the movie is, instead of some great scene, they all decide that since they have this ability to do whatever they imagine, they all imagine to forget that it exists. Like, hey, Tony, you remember that drinking game? Let's just pretend it didn't happen.
I know,
but the book was so good all the way through, and then you get to the end, and it's like a cop-out.
It might have been a cop-out, but they did that, like I said, on purpose. That's what I like about sci-fi stuff, is it gets you thinking. So what if this was all a dream? What if this was something just made up in her head and she was just talking to the psychiatrist?
And that was better.
Another... That's the way I took it. I remembered it, actually. It was that in the end she was talking to the psychiatrist, and we didn't know whether or not the events happened were real or not.
It was all
they literally stood in a circle, held hands, and go, we all forget. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
end of the
that
movie.
is really.
That's the end of the book too.
That's the end of the book.
In the end of the movie, the sphere they blow up the ship, etc. And you got to blow up the ship. It's a multi-million-dollar movie. The at the end of it, they all hold hands. They all like, let's just forget, and they forget what happens.
But that was done
And then-
by terrorists, though. The blowing up in the movie, I thought.
Crap.
You got a work call.
Yes, I do. Of course I do.
All right.
Pause.
I will pause this. All right, and welcome back. We'll see how
Sorry,
that
everybody.
edit happens, but like I said, we don't discuss work, so we got to stop playing when work calls us. Either one of us. It may happen to me too.
I turned off the phone. It's okay. I'm sorry. I apologize, everybody. It's my fault.
All right, so we got into one show, and it really wasn't even directed or written by a female author.
No, but it was a strong female lead.
It was a strong female lead.
If you're going for female leads,
Why don't we go over some female books here? So,
female books.
Goodreads, according to Goodreads, the number one sci-fi female tale, written by a female, is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood.
absolutely fantastic.
I'm glad you read it because I did not read this. I started to watch the show with my wife, and I'm like, no, I can't. I could have sworn they did something like this on HBO, did they not?
Yeah, what's crazy is my wife is well, I got marks all over me from her being a very strong woman. Just I walk in the house, she gives me a
He
good
says
slap to
something
make
smart, and she beats him. Yes. I could see
my
that
wi-
happening.
My wife is very nice, but she's a very strong woman. I don't want to use the term feminist because a lot of people have bad connotation with the word feminist, but she advocates for women. She's a very strong woman. She hates Handmaid's Tale.
She really does,
Yes.
does she?
She read the book when she was in college.
Okay.
Much smarter person than I am.
Forced read or?
Yes.
Decided.
It was a course.
Oh, see, that's what makes it not fun to read.
Exactly.
And she really just does not like the show. And I read the book, and I've watched the first 2 seasons or so of the show,
Right.
and I thought they went really well together. They weren't exact; they didn't line up 100%.
Never do. It's
Yeah,
hard to copy some things from the book, and it's hard to.
And I really don't want that
Replicate.
because then I know everything's going to happen.
Right. Well, no, I get
A little
that.
surprised. But she didn't like it, and when I asked her why, she goes, "Well, it's just not true to the book." And I'm like, "Well, it doesn't need to be true to the book."
Oh, that's every critic's thing. Like, it's got to line up with the book 100%. And it's impossible to do in some cases. Some cases, they can't do the special effects properly. Some cases, it just doesn't make sense to do where they're at.
There's a lot of
in
those
those things.
Like again, we'll go back to The Shining. There are scenes in The Shining, the book, versus scenes in The Shining, the movie, that would be super difficult to replicate. But even more, it breaks up the visualization that's going on.
Right.
It's really hard to say, and Timmy thought about, and then somehow show that Timmy's thinking about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard to do that visually.
And I know the kid's name was Danny in the book, in the movie.
He was just giving an example. All right. The Hunger Games is number 2
Again,
by Susan Collins.
I am a fan of the Hunger Games.
I am a fan of both the books, but not as much of the books as the movies. I like the movies far better. There was far more detail in the movies than there was, at least in the first book. I kind of remember the second and third book being a little bit more detail, a little bit better, but I remember the first book being only like 300 pages.
See, I think that's another one where it's another one of the when it's more of an action type thing. Visual is a better medium than visual here.
Right. So I enjoyed the Hunger Games a lot. Even when I read it, I thought it was fairly well done. I just thought it was a little light in detail. I mean, when you compare it to some male authors like Stephen King or other people that go into almost too much detail in certain things.
And that's what I love about Stephen King is the detail. He wrote Dance Macabre is a book that he wrote that's not a book. It is more of a letter to his students and things like that, how horror should be written and all that kind of interesting stuff. And he said there's a passage in there where he talked about, I can change the temperature of the room just by explaining how someone's finger flips on a light switch by adding detail. You walk in, you flip on the light switch, the light turns on. Who cares? You walk in, it's dark. You feel a draft coming through the door. You can't see the light switch, but you feel for the light switch. It changes the entire intensity of it. I got little goosey bumps. Yeah, just thinking about it. I think it may have been more terrifying because I was actually in a waiting room getting a root canal that day. So it may have changed it completely. But my wife, again, a learned woman, can't stand Stephen King because he describes too
I gotta
much.
click on this next one. This next one says number 3, Frankenstein. Was that written by a woman initially?
Mary Shelley.
Oh, I am sorry. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things where you're forced to read it in school, so you don't read it at all.
I actually was never forced to read that book, but I did read it. And I enjoy the early versions of Frankenstein, the movies. Because, again, there were, B movies and, big bolts on the neck.
30s? Early, or are you talking?
Earlys, yes.
Like those, the really
I love the early
1900
ones,
or early 30s movies.
Yeah, but I didn't like Nosferatu. But that's a different story. The what's interesting is I didn't actually read the book until I was probably 30. And I didn't realize that, Frankenstein's monster was a feeling person who had morals and everything, not just totally changed the concept for me.
It totally would, and if I skipped over the cliff notes and actually paid attention and did not forget the entire experience of me being forced to read it.
It's a relatively short book. If you get the chance, I would read it. It's very good. It's more of a epic journey through how the human condition is, which, I mean, really, that's kind of what sci-fi is all the way anyway.
Right.
And it's really, I mean, she did such a good job, especially for someone being so far out of our time. I mean, let's face it, 1930 is a huge difference in time for us. I mean, humans have only been, cognizant of themselves for 100,000 years, and our real history's only been in the last, 5,000-6,000. But with our literature, it's even way shorter than that. I mean, you've always had, the oral traditions of
Right.
storytelling. But where we can just go back and go, hey, what did that one obscure person write way, way back then? The language is different. The cultural references are different.
Those I always found very interesting when we do go back and do things like in time. Like, for instance, A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
One of the best.
Beautiful satire, but it's more beautiful if you think about it in relation to the time. So I read it 6 months after that book came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That was a while ago.
My mom had it, and she was laughing at it. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? Because my mom's a big sci-fi reader, too. That's how I got into all this stuff. And a very strong female role model for me was she was a single parent. So she was spending her time reading that, and I got highly interested. So I read it. And just the way the satire matches up with the time and certain things that were going on, because that came out in late 80s, early 90s, if I remember.
Mid-80s.
Mid-80s? Yeah.
Probably like 86 neighborhood. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I'd rather just be wrong. I'm trying not to look.
But yeah, I read it, like, it might have been a year after that. I remember being like 11 or 12, and I thought the book was hilarious.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
at
Douglas
11
Adams
or
is
12.
amazing.
If
we find out later Douglas Adams is actually a woman, even better for the show.
Even better for the show, but it's not going to happen. All right, so we're going to skip over that. A Wrinkle in Time is the next one.
A good young adult one.
Never read it. Did they not come out and put this on Amazon, though?
They did with Oprah, and I watched a couple of minutes, and I was like, I think I'm not going to ruin a memory.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
Interesting, because I was thinking about watching this on Amazon, because
If you haven't read the book, go ahead
I
and watch
haven't
the
read
show.
the book yet. So
Watch the show, tell me how it is, and maybe I'll go back to it. I'm not an Oprah fan.
Right.
So I mean, she's a big, vibrant personality, and that's great for TV shows like that, but not great for. She's basically Glinda, the Good Witch of the Good Witch. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. And she's over personality for it.
right.
Which kind of just ruins it because it overshadows everybody else, and that's not really where that book is supposed to be. It's all about the little girl whose name escapes me at the moment, and because they had to pay so much to get Oprah and all that, it just kind of, she overshadowed it and kind of ruined it for me.
All right. Well, the next book is Left Hand of Darkness. I have not read this one either, by Ursula K. Le Guin.
I have no idea how to pronounce that. We discussed this one just before.
Hanish number 4. Yeah, we discussed it a little bit before, and you were had read it.
It's one of those seminal books that is a classic, but not necessarily because of the content. In the 70s when it was written, it was absolutely in front of the times. It was super fantastic because it is all about individual equality, not, hey, I'm a male, I make more money than you do because you're a female. It's about a planet that is asexual, well, not asexual, it's binary. They're both men and women at the same time. And a representative from a far-flung galaxy cooperative comes over and is like, hey, you want to join our world? And it's written from his perspective, and it's interesting to see how in the 70s, with all the biases that we had then and have now, how that guy has to deal with the fact that everyone is equal, and that just isn't the way it's been in human history.
And I don't really see that going forward with human history right now. We're not at a point where we can fully treat everyone equally because our experiences are still so different from one another.
That I agree with that statement, but I want to back on that a little bit. My kid is and his friends are so much more aware and conscious of each other than I ever was as a kid. Oh my God, I was a horrible kid. Yeah, but like it makes me feel good to see how well they actually treat each other nowadays. And you hear all these horror stories about, this kid got teased, this kid gets bullied, and that's always going to happen because there's always going to be
the differences in backgrounds, like I was talking about. It's going to happen some, but I think as we get more into this shared experience where we grew up with a roof over our head, properly fed, and all that kind of stuff,
I'm well fed now.
Improve. We're both a little too well fed, at least for TV on the YouTube channel. I'm sorry, but I think, like I said, as we meld together a little bit more, I think that will make it easier. And as long as we keep working towards it as a society, we'll get closer to that. But again, once we go multi-planetary or multi-something else, like I still project to happen eventually here, those divergences are gonna start creeping back in again.
And I really think you're right. I really do think you're right there. I find it interesting that the more that people do things like TikTok and video games online and everything like that, even though there is that horrible problem with the teabag, it's crazy how people who would never have gotten together before. I play late at night, so I'm usually playing with Australians, people from India, things like that, and we get to share our culture. I mean, we're not even intentionally sharing our culture, but we are sharing our culture, and I think that brings the world together more. But I think you're totally right. Once we start blasting off to Mars, are we then going to have
Mars people,
and Earth people, and is that going to be a conflict? And
because of human
nature, I totally think you're right, Tony.
Unfortunately, I do right now, unless we somehow
evolve,
like we go to another step in the evolution, we're not quite
human as we
know humans to be today.
I agree.
I agree.
That kind of brings us to our next book, which is Divergent. I'm going to go through the top 10 books.
You go for it.
Movies. By Veronica
Roth.
And I like Divergent a lot.
The movie was pretty good as well.
Again, dystopian Chicago, divided by factions and all that kind of stuff.
So
Chicago.
The main character
is divergent from that.
So I enjoy
that. Most of Chicago is divided by pizza lines.
Well,
people who believe
in deep dish and people who do not believe in deep dish.
I'm for both.
I think it's crazy.
I've been to Chicago a couple times, and of the people I know who live in Chicago, they hate deep dish pizza.
They're like, it's
just a tourist thing. We hate deep dish pizza.
That's like New York.
That's like New York pizza in Buffalo here.
I like it just a
I like it
nice
just a
medium
nice
crust,
medium crust, not that paper thin cracker in New York City,
not that
and not that might as well just be a loaf of bread with sauce on top of it in Chicago. I like a nice medium thick crust.
Right.
The next one I
The
got
next
is
one I got is
Giver,
The
which
Giver,
also
which also I
by
thought by Lois
Lowry.
Okay, that one I don't
Okay, that
know.
one I don't know.
This was a
This
really
was
good
a
book.
really
They
good
do
book.
actually
They do actually have a movie out for it too.
And the movie went
fairly
close to the book
as well.
It's
It's basically
a
made up
society
type of thing.
Everybody's treated equally,
like what they tried to get,
except for
the
old guy
that
knew the history
of where they came from.
And it's his turn to basically pass that history on to somebody else. So he's giving that history to somebody else type of thing.
Now,
would you lie?
If you were that guy,
and you're the only one who knows the history of the horribleness of where we came from.
Yes, knowing your history
prevents you from repeating it.
But do you as a person
lie and go, yep, we've always been awesome, we're always going to stay awesome, let's be awesome.
That's
where'd that one come from?
And that's what the book is about. It's like, what would you kind of do in those situations? How would you treat
the next person? Would you tell them that this is what's coming up?
Totally.
So I know you would lie, but
I thought we're all descended from
history.
We're all descended from awesome people, and if you want to stay awesome, you got to stay awesome.
The next one is Catching Fire,
which we kind of already covered a little bit.
Kindred by
Octavia Butler.
I'm sure if I read this.
Kindred?
I don't think I've read it.
So it's a combination of slave memoir, fantasy, and historical fiction, and a novel rich in literary complexity.
No, I'm not.
I'm not usually into the literally complex. Literary complexities.
And I don't like too much of that historical fiction thing. We rewrite history. I do in some instances. I think it's kind of interesting to look back. Particularly we take that and then project it in the future if we rewrote history.
If you were going to do a historical fiction novel like that, Master and Commander.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good book series. I am a historical nerd. So I'm totally biased about that. 100%. But so well written, and I would absolutely suggest the movie with Russell Crowe. Master Commander. It's actually the movie is actually like the third book in.
Right.
But it's fantastic. A little background on me. I did a lot of sailing. I taught sailing as a kid, not because I came from a rich family, just because I needed money. And the job was available.
He also lives on an island.
It's not my island.
It's not my island.
Braveheart joke there. Okay. But these scenes, I lucked out and I managed to sail a couple of large, tall ships, three mast kind of beauties, and the authenticity is so spot on.
You mean
it's not like Sea of Thieves and trying to solo hand a 3-mast ship?
No.
Yeah. Although a fun game, I'm not a big fan of it.
It's our right. Have you ever did the team battle type thing where your ships together? I like that portion of it, and you do have to properly tack and properly
get on the right
course to set yourself up for it.
I can't the other way.
Tack would be
with the wind. Jive would be into the wind.
Thank you.
Sterling teaching.
Yeah.
Sadly, the part I like best about that, sitting on the foredeck playing with the stupid musical instruments.
I get that.
And
The Dispose is the last one in the top 10
by Ursula. It's also in a Hanish cycle.
I'm not going to go into that. I
didn't read that one either, unfortunately.
IMDb.
That's the one I'm
trying to say.
Top 10.
Top 10.
I tricked on the Matrix.
Top 10.
Wachowski.
There we go. Finally came to me. But yeah, they were the Wachowski brothers, and then they both transitioned to now the Wachowski sisters.
Is that why
Leanna Lilly now listed in it?
I don't count that.
I'm staying on that because that's what screwed up J.K. Rowling. I'm staying on that.
I do and I don't count that.
I get how their feelings
there, but
they're totally valid.
There's science stuff behind it. I'm totally with their feelings.
And that's probably gonna
get me kicked off the
air. Yeah, you'll be fine.
I'm not gonna.
Sorry, I'm a scared child. I'm staying out of that one.
So the first one on here
is
Eugene. It's got
to be somewhere from
Ingenuine. Supposed to
Ingenuine or something.
Ingenuine. I don't know that one.
I don't know either.
It looks like a French.
Finds a human analog in their basement.
The
analog appears to be a woman at the age of 20. Oh yeah, what a shock.
But in
reality, she's a clone with the intelligence of a toddler.
God.
I don't
want to touch that one either.
Vanishing Waves was the next one.
I feel bad.
I don't know that one either.
Stranded.
I know that one.
All right.
It's from 2001.
I had not watched.
Oh wait, maybe I have. First
Mars mission crash. He kills the captain and 5 people survive.
Take 2 years.
For them to survive. It's kind of like The Martian all over again.
Yeah, I like The Martian.
I like The Martian far better.
I really like The Martian. That was a good one. I will never look at a potato again.
I think I did watch
parts
of this. I don't think I watched the whole
movie. I just couldn't
follow that one.
Couldn't stay with
it. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't the world's greatest movie. And again, I'd rather watch The Martian. The difference between The Martian and Stranded is more of the ensemble.
You got just the one lead,
and you get that feeling in The Martian of aloneness, and how would you react to
the
only person there? Where in Stranded, you've got people with you. There's those inter-party conflicts and things like that
that make it more difficult.
But at least you have someone to turn to and go,
"This sucks, man.
This sucks, man."
Look back at
you and go,
"Bro, you're right.
This sucks."
Sorry, I was trying to figure out because Impact was number 7 on this list.
Really?
And I was trying to figure out who the actual director was. Mimi Leader.
Deep Impact.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I put it on my top 10 list.
Well, that's
still I don't know how they did their top 10 list. I skipped over 4, 5, and 6 when I saw Deep Impact.
Advantageous
is number 4.
Did not see it.
Strange Days
from 1995.
It's tickling something in the back of my mind.
Former cop, street hustler accidentally uncovers a conspiracy in LA in 1999.
Nope, not
ringing a bell.
Angela Bassett,
Ralph Fiennes.
Nope.
All right. Not really.
A whole lot of bells for me either.
Altered
Perception.
Ooh,
we're gonna use the word altered. You got to mention Altered Carbon.
Listen.
I
understand.
But
I know.
Hey, I'm feeling dead
air while you're searching on your phone.
A drug that alters perceptions
during trauma and stress is being advertised as a cure for social political tensions.
So they're drugging up
the entire country.
I know, Chairman Mao, that you have these ideas about
what you should do.
But have you tried Xanax?
Half-Life from 2008.
Yeah. I don't really discuss that one.
You didn't like that one at all. I don't recall Hunting the Phantom.
No.
I don't think I've seen that.
Whose career is on the rise is forced to break law in order to save his fiancée Kira. Uncovers a global conspiracy.
Nancy
Kira was one of my least favorite characters in Deep Space Nine. So, sorry, folks. I'm not a Deep Space Nine fan.
Sticky
Fingers of Time from 1997.
I haven't heard of this one.
Okay.
These are the top ones on IMDb.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch some of these this week coming up and see how they are because I gotta watch a movie called Sticky Fingers in Time.
The writer hired to cover an article on the first hydrogen bomb test. Well, there radiation mutates her code/soul,
giving her
the ability to travel through time by force of will.
Okay.
That sounds interesting.
That's got that B-movie sound that I like.
It's definitely got a
B-movie cover.
I mean, I am a huge
fan. I'll pop some of these things. It's definitely got a B-movie cover.
I'm a Mystery Science Theater fan, so yeah, I love B-movies.
For some reason,
we only ended up with 45 minutes so far. I could have swore we recorded longer.
I don't know.
I was thinking 15 minutes. I got a terrible sense of time.
No, you said 20 originally, so maybe it was 2038, and I just looked at the second number.
Or
maybe you have sticky fingers in time.
You
are traveling through time by the force of will, and you recode
So let's go for some of the ones I have seen.
Number 14, Cloud Atlas.
I have seen
this one.
This one wasn't
too bad.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's basically how an action of
individual impact other people in the past type of thing, and then how it comes up to the present and future and that kind of stuff. And it's just
Cloud Atlas
is about kind of inspiring the future to make changes.
At least from the book that I kind of remember. And I thought I remember seeing this movie, but now I'm actually reading the plot summary. I might not. Because it basically starts with a slave in the Pacific Ocean in 1849, and then moves to letters in the 1930s, and a reporter investigated nuclear power plant in the 70s, and something happened in 2012, and it ends in Korea in 2044.
Okay.
So.
And I don't know that one,
but I like the concept. Kind of like World War Z, the book, not the movie. We'll not discuss that.
How it's
all done in like letters and different clippings from newspapers and quick shots from TV shows. How it skips through time like that. That was a great concept. I wish they'd traveled and done that in the movie.
The movie itself
would have been fantastic if they just named it something else.
End of Days Incorporated?
I am not
familiar with that one.
It's something I
saw and I was going to watch it and never actually did.
Jupiter Ascending.
Did see this one. It wasn't bad.
You don't like
this one at all.
I thought it was interesting. It's got a lot of bad acting.
Yes, it does.
It had a lot of bad acting and kind of light on the plot.
Interesting enough that I finished it. It's not something I want to come back and watch again, but I was like, I think it was again where I kind of read the book and I thought the book was better.
I feel so
judgy over something. I love B movies and I love bad acting, but there's a difference between bad acting and just oh my god, what are you doing?
Seeking a friend from the end of the world.
I did see.
Is that a British one?
Is that a British one?
It is not a British one.
It is a comedy. It's got what's his name in it? I'll tell you who it is. Steve Carell
in it.
Okay, I remember
the movie coming out, but I did not see it. I know what you're talking about.
I actually watched it. It was
enjoyable enough. Basically, an asteroid crashing on the Earth, and they know it's going to happen.
There's a British TV show that's probably the basis for that movie.
The name of it escapes me right now.
It may actually be End of the World.
But it's the same concept.
It's the same concept. Asteroids coming. The whole world's going to get crushed in like 3 weeks or something like that. And
it's got some political
drama, but it's funny political drama. It's more.
Here's another one
I saw that I thought was kind of hilarious, but probably would not watch again.
I
love Tank Girl. Okay, that's my movie right there.
I've watched it sort of a couple of times, but I don't go out of my way to watch it.
It's so much better
to watch the uncut version, not the scrubbed for TV version. If you ever get a chance,
read the comic books.
The comic books.
Did not read the comic.
Don't get me wrong.
This is one of the ones where the movie is as good or better than the source material.
The difference with the comic book
is there's these
little individual panels that are pop-outs that are just so good. Like there's, I think it's actually in the opening of the movie they put a little montage of panels from the comic book in it, and there's so many great little one-offs. You gotta watch it.
Sorry, they mentioned
Wrinkle in Time, and I popped it up for Smiley. I'm like, oh, we had already discussed this. If I were directed by a woman for that one, and I'm sorry, it's on Disney, not Amazon.
Oh yeah.
It's on Disney.
If I were a little girl, that would be a very empowering movie for me, I believe. I am not a little girl. I can't say that with complete confidence. But again, I mean, I get where they're going, and I get with Oprah being a big character like that, where it gives you a good role model kind of thing. But I just think it wasn't supposed to be about Oprah. It was supposed to be about your main character, the girl, and I wish I could remember it. We all need those big influences in our lives to help us decide where we're going ourselves. But at some point in time, those big influences have to take that step back and let them be themselves.
And then I went all the way through 68.
Like, they don't even mention 100 of them, and
of being directed by women. So I don't even recognize any of the rest of them.
Well, I'd be curious to see how many of those, like the books, are women with initialisms in their name to get directed.
And then I did
tell you about something, and I forgot all about this, but number 19 on the list, if we go back to books here, is Dragonflight.
Riders of
Pern. Okay.
And this is one of
my brain shut
off there. First sci-fi books that I read, because again, my mom was into sci-fi and was a female author, and I thoroughly enjoyed
traveling through
on Pern, on Dragonback, and a lot of that stuff.
When I was a kid, that was one of my favorites, because I could mentally picture flying on a dragon. Apparently I drank a lot as a kid, I don't know. Flaming thread as it comes down from.
Right, you were catching the dragon's mouth, right?
They were burning the thread as it fell down. What was the name of that planet?
Pern.
Pern was the name of the planet they were on.
There was a Nagatha or something like that.
I can't remember. I was probably like 12 when I read that book, maybe. The first one. Then what's funny is my siblings and I don't really. We're not really close. And I.
Because you guys are good together underneath your throat.
That's because I've got a deeper radio.
Sure.
Yeah. I got. I think it's when I got out of the Marines, out of boot camp. My sister actually gave me one of the Dragon Riders of Pern book. And I'm like, I'm 22. That's how not close we are. The last time she got me a present, I was like 14 or 12 or something like that, and it was a book from Pern. So the thought was there. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I just got
out of the school of learning to murder people.
Thanks for the young adult
novel.
That's a great series.
I mean,
did you ever read
the Crystal Singer, also by Ian McCaffrey?
I did not.
I believe I read this.
I read a lot
of Anne McCaffrey.
She had a
lot of books.
25, I think.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that
depends because if I am remembering correctly, her son actually wrote the last two books, or co-wrote them.
Co-wrote.
So yeah,
I guess it's how you.
I mean, that's a great
idea.
Like, hey, look,
kid, why
don't you hop in with me and we'll write these first couple books because I'm going to retire here, and then you can just carry on the legacy.
And I don't think
anything has happened with your kid writing.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I looked at it.
So basically after 10 grueling years of musical training,
the Crystal Singer here,
she was still without prospects until she heard of a mysterious guild, the Heptite Guild, who could provide career, security, and wealth beyond imagining. Maybe I didn't read this one. It just sounds interesting. thought I might have
looked that over, but I don't remember.
Of course, my memory
is not the greatest for some reason.
A lot of people could
do
better. How about
better.
Cinder?
How about Cinder? Did you ever read Cinder by Marissa May?
I did not.
The Lunar
Chronicles #1. Humans, Androids.
Ruckus,
Street of New Beijing, and a deadly plague ravages the population.
As people
from
the moon
kind of watch what's going on, they waited to make their move, and then
instead of people getting on up there, I think they decided to launch something at Earth.
Oh, that's always nice of them.
Are you familiar with
the rods from God concept?
Yes.
I
wonder if that's what they're dropping. Big whole
chunks of
cadmium
on Earth.
Let's see. Where am I at here?
Starshine
by
G.S.
Jensen. That was another one. Aurora Rising.
I believe I read that one. That sounds really familiar.
Sounded familiar
to me, but
like I said, some of these books
sound familiar, but I don't remember if I read them fully or not. I gotta see something.
I've only got
so much space in the hard drive up there, so I got to purge quite a bit after a while.
I know of one
that was like 70s, and I haven't gotten to the 70s here, but Naomi something or other.
Her Majesty's Dragon
by Naomi Novik.
Tremere number one.
I did read this book.
Basically, it was aerial combat
in like the Napoleon era.
Dragon.
That's awesome.
I like that.
And I thought
that book was really
interesting.
So
I read through it, and I thought it was pretty good. And there was a second one I read too that I read. First book I thought was a lot better than the second one. I don't remember what the second one was called.
Part 2.
I didn't see anything
else.
I did read
this one. A Long Way to a Small Angry Plant
by Becky James. I thought this was
going to be something similar to
Douglas Adams.
It sounds like a Hitchhiker's Guide kind of thing.
And it sort of wasn't.
It was alright. Like it was.
They call it in here
kind of like a light-hearted space opera. Debut book from her
type of thing.
So the writing was a little subpar.
Everyone's gonna start
somewhere.
I know,
but it wasn't
bad. It wasn't extremely memorable either. I don't remember much of it.
I do remember.
It's like what's that? The one about the train.
Snow Pincer.
Yes.
It was all right.
It was all right. Not a.
I still have not
watched that.
I understand
the concept, and I don't know if it sounds interesting.
I think the concept is better than it got too dramatic.
And that's
what I can't stand. Like,
I get drama,
and I get
a lot of that stuff.
But when I come to sci-fi, I'm looking more for
those how do we improve humankind type stories.
That's
how do you
controversial for yourself.
I
hate Voyager.
Star Trek
Voyager. Hate it.
Strong female
lead.
No, she's not.
She waffles
the whole show. I'm strong. I'm not. Have a little confidence in yourself. 7 of 9 never had that trouble except for one time. It's just something about that show that just grates on my nerves.
I love
Star Trek. I am not a huge fan of season 1 of Discovery.
Season 1 started growing a little bit more, but again, I don't know if you weren't here when that first when I was talking about it with Matt from the podcast studio here. I stopped watching after episode 1 when she becomes a mutineer. A Star Trek ship, like the ship would never fucking happen, like she was in space. I don't.
Oh, they're too friendly
to space anybody.
No. Not even the way Discovery's going, it doesn't sound like they were too friendly to space.
Well, that was kind of my problem with Discovery season 1. It was too gritty.
I don't watch
Star Trek
for grittiness.
I watch it for hope.
I get that. I totally get that.
I play Star Trek Online quite a lot. And Section 31 is in it. And that's where all the bad stuff is.
You know,
that's
and I like
that they
compartmentalize.
English is a second language today.
All
the naughty stuff that needs to be done for a government to work.
Over there.
In the black.
Thank you.
In
the shadows.
Do your things.
Get away.
And then just let all the rest of us just do the discovery of planets. Hey, what's up? Okay, lots of battles. But I like that all the intrigue and all that. It's got its own entire department. The problem is that department shows up in Discovery.
And that's not what I want.
That's not what I want.
I want you to go.
Okay, yes. There's your green alien, Kirk. Go get her.
So you're with me because I discussed this on my first episode.
You're with the guy that pushed to make him non-canon completely. Picard and Discovery.
No, I think they're probably necessary because you got to understand that in a world's union.
There are
things that have to be done.
There is.
I just don't want to see it.
It's like I don't read some of the Star Wars books because I don't want to see that. I also don't want the Skywalker legacy anymore either. But I want the hero. I want the
Star Wars.
You want the Disney Plus feel good
movies. No. I want like the medium. I want like something between AMC Plus and Disney Plus, like smashed together where we gotta feel okay with it. I like the fact that Iron Man died in the end.
I don't know. I'm like
super torn with that one.
The
problem is I know where it goes.
I did not
because I'm not that big of a comic book.
Tony Stark hands it off to the new Pepper Potts. And she turns into Ironheart,
which is
fine. That's great. But
I'm gonna miss Tony.
I get that.
I get that.
But I like Star Trek because it is forward thinking. It's what if we really did try to set aside our problems? They'd still be there. We'd still have them.
But that was all
Gene Roddenberry that pushed that. Gene Roddenberry passed. I mean,
nothing has come out exactly like that.
Since
I mean, if you look at
some of the other Gene Roddenberry stuff like V.
I love V.
I love V.
Absolutely.
I love the original
remake
they did a couple years ago.
No, the remake was trash.
I would rather pull my own tooth out with a pair of pliers than have to watch that again.
Only one tooth.
Let's not get crazy.
And I only went 2 shows with that. I'm like, no, I can't. This is ruining something that was part of my childhood that I absolutely enjoyed.
Here's an interesting fact.
Do you remember
that
Robert Englund
was in V?
Freddy Krueger.
I
kind of do.
I
can't remember his character name, but he was
the goofy
guy. Yeah. I was sitting there one day, and I was like, oh my god!
You said he was Freddy Krueger. Like I just couldn't put the 2 and 2 together.
Right before he got the job to play Freddy Krueger, he was playing. I can't think of the guy's name. But he was the screw up alien, retro screw up who ends up joining the Resistance.
Oh my
god! I totally didn't put those 2 together.
I knew you put the 2 together until you said it. I'm thinking back on it.
Well, that shows you how good
a job they did with the makeup and Nightmare on Elm Street. And how well he can switch
roles.
Change himself up.
If we're gonna stick with Robert Englund, have you seen Zombie Strippers?
I have not, but again, we're
trying to stay with.
Trust me, see the movie. It's hysterical.
All right, so
we are probably going to end the show.
See, I did it again.
I veered him off a cliff.
Because
I don't have anything else, so we'll stay on topic right now.
So we're going to end the show this week.
Hold on, my book recommendation.
Dave's got a book recommendation.
Office of Mercy.
All right, he's going to send me that cover and a text or a photo thing so I can add it to the.
It's Ariel
Dejanikin.
K-A-I-N.
Adam Mulder, only take the recommendation a little bit here because I'm only halfway through the book. She's 2013. This is her first book in 2013. I believe she's got 2 more now. The concept is a utopian dystopian dichotomy. Call the modern human, for lack of a better term, is living in a dome, whereas the people who survived the apocalypse without having technology are now living tribally outside domes. And the main character, no spoilers here, it's literally the first 10 pages you learn this, works for the Office of Mercy. The Office of Mercy is a group of people that go out and cull tribal people, so they're not encroaching on the domes and taking resources away. So they're literally going out there and sacrificing these people, mercifully putting them down like you would an animal with rabies, because that's what they're taught to believe.
Interesting. Sounds very
interesting. I might have to give that book a try.
I like it so far.
All right.
So we're in the show.
Thanks for listening to Sci-Fi Update. Like and share us on Facebook,
Twitter,
and
YouTube.
I am on Instagram, and I'm still figuring out how to do stuff on Instagram better. So maybe I'll get that figured out.
If Dave becomes more
of the show, maybe he can help me out with some stuff on there. We'll see.
All right, Dave will be probably back with us next week.
I'll try.
And
we'll see you then. Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
He ended that.
We all got his time.
There's just so many good things out there. It's just hard to pin
down.
down.
So it did not click both of those together. They want to save it as 2 different audios.
They'll save it as audio
files, but it'll render as one.
All right.
That's fine.
Can you see those headphones?
Sounds like a cult speech.
We are all 2 different audio.
We render as one.
See, that one didn't cut out on us this time. So I got the complete video. We'll see how this works.
Yeah,
this video was skipping.